you're not so disappointed. But let's be serious here. The landing spot is pretty horrible.
Welcome to another edition of Fantasy Football Freaks. I'm Jason. He's Vaz, and we continue our analysis on day one of the NFL draft. It is in the books, and it changes a lot of things for both the rookies who were drafted, but also the veterans who were perhaps at the top of their food chain on the depth chart. However, that might have changed by now. So there's going to be winners and losers after day one of the NFL draft, and today we are going to analyze that. Vaz, you've put together a list of your biggest winners and losers. What do you want to start with?
Let's do from 5 to 1, starting with our biggest loser. Starting from our fifth biggest loser and go back and forth, loser to winner. How do you feel about that?
Okay, fair enough. Let's take a look then at your fifth biggest loser.
Okay, so my fifth biggest loser is Drake May. I think he's number 5 here because the draft capital is elite. Like, he gets the 3rd overall pick. So you're still, if you're a Drake May fan, you're not so disappointed. But let's be serious here. The landing spot is pretty horrible. The Patriots don't have much in terms of weapons. Like, I don't know, who's their best weapon? Like Hunter Henry? Like, I don't know. So, and then like maybe he's not even starting day one. Jacoby Brissett might be the day one guy. So for me, he's a loser. If he had gone, I was like, if you're a Drake May fan, you're probably hoping he went to the Commanders or somebody else. Maybe even the Giants move up to get him. I don't know if that's any better, but it just feels like the Patriots is one of the worst possible landing spots. And for me, that's why he's at 5.
Yeah, I couldn't agree anymore. I was never a May fan to begin with. And I think the fact that it appears like he's going to be redshirting his first season anyways, I almost wonder if he might be the guy that you don't take this year and maybe like midway through the season when he's not playing and, you get a little bit of prospect fatigue to that owner. Maybe you could put in like a low ball offer either midway through the season or in the off season, even when his value maybe decreases because he's not playing, sort of like Jordan Love. A couple of years ago, you might have people that lose value like that.
I was thinking the same thing with like Michael Penix. People might draft him a little bit high now because he went 8th overall, but there's probably going to be a better time to buy because I think for the next couple of years he's going to be on the bench, so people are going to lose interest in this guy. He's going to slip down ranking. So I don't know if this is the best time to buy Michael Penix, but yeah, just like you said about Drake May, I think same thing with Jordan Love, same thing with Michael Penix. We'll see.
Yeah. Let's take a look at your fifth best winner.
Yeah, so my fifth best winner is actually, before we get into that, I made an honorable mention, just kind of sneaking in number 6 here. My number 6 was the Vikings wide receivers, honorable mention, because I think, we don't know if JJ McCarthy is elite or anything, but at least they got a top 10 drafted quarterback. So, you got to elevate Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, and TJ Hawkinson, who all get, a better quarterback than Sam Darnold in the mix here. So JJ McCarthy is probably the day one starter there. And I think all 3 of these guys get elevated. So that was my honorable mention. And then right into number 5, I've got a trio of quarterbacks: Patrick Mahomes, Bryce Young, and Kyler Murray. I think all get a huge bump up in value here. Patrick Mahomes, had a rough year last year, fantasy-wise. But I think, and same with Bryce Young, horrible year fantasy-wise. But they added a lot to their depth chart, receiving depth chart in free agency, and then they did it even again in the draft. So many more weapons for both of these guys, and I think they're in for a much more productive season. And then talking about Kyler Murray, his value just increased tenfold, getting a true elite number 1 receiver in Marvin Harrison Jr. So these 3 quarterbacks are my number 5 biggest winner.
All right. Yeah, certainly got to be happy if you're Mahomes. Hopefully getting another receiver that actually catches passes without dropping them. And, I could say that Kyler Murray has actually gone up in value because Justin Herbert has gone down in value, but we'll talk about a little bit more about that later on.
Yeah, absolutely will.
Let's talk about your next biggest loser.
My next biggest loser at number 4 is the receiving combination of Rashee Rice and Hollywood Brown. So they add Worthy to this receiving group, and my instant reaction was to think that like Hollywood takes a hit here because we thought that maybe if he performs well, they'll re-sign him and whatnot. But like I think now this pick indicates that it is truly a 1-year deal. We can expect Hollywood to be here for 1 year, and I don't even know if he's going to be startable in fantasy. I don't know if he's going to be productive. He's got to earn targets now. He's got another deep threat there with Worthy, and then Worthy's going to be used around the line of scrimmage as well. The way they've been using McCole Hardman, or the way they want to use McCole Hardman on slants and quick screens and just like plays around the line of scrimmage, and that's where they also use Rashee Rice. So I think both of these guys take a hit. Probably Hollywood a little bit more so than Rashee Rice, but both definitely take a hit. So they're number 4 for me.
Okay, no pushback there. And despite being a Hollywood fan, yeah, I clearly didn't like that. So I agree with that. Let's take a look at your fourth biggest winner.
My fourth biggest winner is the quarterback duo of Gardner Minshew, and Aiden O'Connell. So I think I'm not sure if this is probably just a 1 year stint for these guys, but I think they're now established as, one of them is going to be established as the quarterback for this season. And not only did they avoid another quarterback going to their team in the first round, but they also added Brock Bowers, a receiving option and a blocking option for that offense. So like fantastic for them. If you own either of them, their stock just increased. They're going to be probably Gardner Minshew, I expect, will win the starting job. That's my expectation. And he's going to be very useful in terms of for fantasy this season. So, and then if he underperforms, Aiden O'Connell will step in and be the quarterback there. So I think both of them increase in value, and I don't know if it's going to be long term. I don't think but I think for the short term, they're both options at quarterback.
Yeah, certainly if they get off to good starts and there's another team that suffers a quarterback injury, then those are certainly players that you could trade for a lot more now with that acquisition. Yep. Let's talk about your third biggest loser.
Okay, so number 3 in the loser category for me is Adonai Mitchell. And I think you could probably also throw Ladd McConkey here too. I think everybody was hoping that, these two guys, Adonai Mitchell and Ladd McConkey, would go to like the Chiefs, the Bills, or somebody else, the Cowboys, late in round 2, one of these prime landing spots. But both of them slipped right out of round 1. And I mean, this can change if they land at 33 to the Bills. But if they don't, if they keep sliding, they are pretty big losers for me. So I have them both here at number 3. But Adonai Mitchell was my number 10 rookie before the NFL draft, so he's slipping big time for me.
Okay. If he were to end up, let's say, with the Bills, let's say paint a best case scenario, does he go right back to number 10, or where roughly would he be in your rookie rankings if he did go to the Bills?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think if he goes to the Bills or even to the Chargers, not to the Chargers, to the Bills or
Cowboys?
To the Chargers. I'm sorry. Yeah, if he goes to the Bills or the Chargers, then I think he would be elevated probably right around 10 or 11 in the same tier as Worthy for Adonai Mitchell. I think Ladd McConkey would probably fall to like 12 or 13 if he went to those situations. I think if Ladd McConkey went to the Bills, he'd be right in the Worthy range. I think if Adonai Mitchell went to the Bills, he'd probably be one step ahead of Worthy for me. I think that spot is just too good. I don't think the Chargers spot is as good because they're clearly showing their hand that they want to run the ball. And, a second round receiver has such a lower hit rate than a first round receiver. So I think the key spot is 33 to the Bills. If Adonai Mitchell or Ladd McConkey go 33 to the Bills, they'll get bumped right back up. But if they slip past that pick, then yeah, they're going to continue to slide down my rankings.
All right, let's talk about your third biggest winner.
My third biggest winner is a quartet of receivers. So I've got Xavier Worthy, Brian Thomas Jr., Ricky Pearsall, and Xavier Legette. I think these are all pretty self-explanatory. They all get drafted in the first round to, good enough landing spots. I think Worthy and Brian Thomas Jr. great landing spots. So you're very happy to draft these guys now, and they both probably rose in everybody's rookie rankings because of their landing spots and draft capital. And then Pearsall and Legette too, who were pretty firmly like second round picks before the NFL draft in terms of rookie draft picks. Probably now are in conversation at the back end of round 1 or early round 2 picks. I don't know how great the landing spots are with, the 49ers and with the Panthers, but you can't ignore the draft capital. So these guys, all 4 of these guys are elevated in terms of their rookie rankings for me.
Yeah, I mean, with a guy like Pearsall, you could look at that and say that, wait, I mean, he's going to San Francisco where he's going to be behind Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. But I think if Samuel isn't traded and he's actually there, then it should only be a year more of Samuel sticking around there as well. So at the very least, he should be the number 2 guy within a year in the worst case scenario. Let's talk about your second biggest loser.
My second biggest loser is the duo of Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer, tight ends. So I love both of these tight ends in terms of talent, but it's like this situation reminds me of last year with Zach Charbonnet going to Seattle. Like you have an elite running back in Kenneth Walker, and then they draft one of the elite running backs to the same team. Same situation here. You have, in my mind, a great tight end in Michael Mayer, and they draft an elite prospect in Brock Bowers to the same tight end room. So I hate this landing spot for Brock Bowers. Really hate it. So I even moved Brian Thomas Jr. ahead of him in my rookie rankings. Even though I love Brock Bowers' talent, it's just they don't have a good quarterback in place, and then they have a lot of mouths to feed in the receiver room as well. And I don't think Michael Mayer is going to be kept on the sidelines. I think they're going to be running a lot of 12 personnel with two tight ends on the field. So, I mean, I just hate the landing spot for Brock Bowers and for Michael Mayer. So they're both here at two for me.
Yeah, I guess you could hope that they become like a new Gronk and Aaron Hernandez, but at the same time,
But
they had Tom Brady passing the ball to them, whereas, of course,
exactly.
very different in Las Vegas. Who's your second biggest winner?
Now, I can't do it for you. The inches we need are everywhere around us. What are you gonna do? Like! Subscribe! Subscribe!
My second biggest winner is a trio of players. I've got Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and Marvin Harrison Jr. here. And the reason is pretty simple. They all went to nuts landing spots early in the draft. So I think all three of these guys are in conversation with being the first three players off the board in rookie drafts. And I think if you like any of them, you're so happy about their landing spots. So I don't need to go too much into depth about these guys, but I had them at two because they got just fantastic landing spots.
Yeah, and each of them went exactly with where they were expected to. I think the one thing that I'll add to that is Rome Odunze ending up with Chicago. I think Caleb, not only does he walk into a good situation, but they've also committed to adding Odunze there to help him out in the future because we don't know how long Keenan Allen's going to be with them. But yeah, certainly great
Yeah.
for all of them. What's your biggest loser?
Okay, my biggest loser is drum roll, Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
And I think this one is an obvious one. So I mean the receiving depth chart in LA there, it's pretty barren, and they could have easily added a top prospect on most people's board in Malik Neighbors or Roma Dunze there, but they decided to go another route and draft a tackle. So not only did they pass on an elite number one receiver, but they showed their cards that they want to be a smash mouth football team. And I expect that Justin Herbert is going to be handing the ball off a lot more than we hoped he would be. So for me, Justin Herbert is falling down my quarterback rankings. I already had him kind of low, but now he's behind guys like Jordan Love, Caleb Williams, uh, even Kyler Murray. Like he's even Trevor Lawrence. Like I'm putting him behind all of these guys. I don't even know if he's a number one quarterback for me anymore. He's probably around 13 at this point. So huge loser for me is Justin Herbert.
Yeah, it certainly was one thing to pass on Neighbors, and let's say if they took a defensive player, but the fact that they was offensive line, we know how Harbaugh operates, and yeah, it's just Harbaugh-ing. Let's take a look at your biggest winner.
My biggest winner is a duo of quarterbacks, JJ McCarthy and Bo Nix. So I think they're both pretty obvious as well, but I'll talk about JJ McCarthy. I mean, everybody was hoping that a quarterback could go to the Minnesota Vikings with those pass catchers. And I think now JJ McCarthy goes there. For me, he even leaped Drake May in my personal rankings because the landing spot is just so beautiful. Um, I mean, there's not much to say. He gets to throw the ball to Justin Jefferson, the best receiver in football. He gets to throw the ball to TJ Hawkinson, maybe the best tight end in football, and Jordan Addison, probably the best number two receiver in football. So what more can you say? Like fantastic landing spot. And then Bo Nix gets the elite draft capital with the Broncos. He gets to play quarterback with an elite coach and Sean Payton calling the plays for him. And I think the team is pretty set up to compete right now. He's going to be thrown in the mix right away. They've got a good run game. They've got a decent O-line. They're going to improve the weapons around him. I know that for sure. And I think he's going to do well there with Sean Payton as his coach. I think that's the guy Sean Payton wanted. So I think it's a great landing spot for him. So these guys are both my biggest risers in my rookie rankings.
All right, there you have it. 5 big winners as well as 5 big losers from day one of the 2024 NFL draft. We're going to continue to cover the draft for day 2 as well as day 3. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you're up to date when we upload those videos as well. Vaz, great job once again. And yeah, certainly can't wait to get into day 2. Remember to subscribe to the channel and like this video. Remember, we are Fantasy Football Freaks. Okay.